A young woman, her life measured in months by a stage 2 brain cancer diagnosis, stood before a single mother at a desolate bus stop, offering her newborn child as a desperate final gift. The events that followed would weave four fractured lives into an extraordinary family, a testament to the fact that love rarely follows a script. It sometimes appears under a flickering streetlight, shivering and hairless, cradling a 2-week-old infant against the biting Philadelphia wind. The question caught Amelia Vance off guard. "Excuse me, are you Amelia?" She paused, her hand tightening on the strap of her messenger bag. It was creeping toward midnight, and the Girard Avenue bus stop was empty, save for her and the woman huddled on the metal bench. Amelia turned with caution. The woman was stooped over, but the first thing Amelia noticed was her head. It was completely bare, her pale scalp shining in the unsteady orange glow of the street lamp. Dark, hollowed-out circles were etched beneath her eyes. She looked no older than her mid-20s, and she was clutching a bundle of blankets to her chest. "I'm sorry, have we met?" Amelia asked, her voice steady as she took a half-step back. This was Fishtown late at night. Vigilance was a reflex. "No, but I know who you are." The woman's voice was a ragged whisper. She pushed herself to her feet, swaying slightly, and it was then that Amelia saw what was in the blankets. It wasn't just a bundle. It was a baby. A tiny, perfect face emerged, its eyes squeezed shut in sleep. "You're a volunteer at the Kensington Community Center? Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays? You've been going for the last 6 months." Amelia's heart began to beat faster. "How do you know that?" "Please." The woman took a faltering step forward, and Amelia could see the glint of tears on her gaunt cheeks. "Please, I need you to take her." The plea seemed to absorb all the sound from the street, hanging in the frigid air. "I think you're mistaken," Amelia said, her mind scrambling for an explanation. Was this woman a danger? Was she unwell? She scanned the empty street for any sign of help. "If you need assistance, the center can provide resources. I can make a call for you." "I'm not mistaken." The raw desperation in her tone rooted Amelia to the spot. "I know exactly who you are, Amelia Vance. You have an 8-year-old daughter named Lily. You lost your husband 4 years ago. You work in graphic design from home, but you spend your free time volunteering because Lily's art teacher said they needed help with the after-school program. You read books to the children, and you do all the character voices. You make them feel safe." A chill that had nothing to do with the temperature crept over Amelia's skin. This stranger had been observing her, studying her. "You need to explain what's happening," she said, her voice firm but not unkind. "Right now." The woman wavered, and instinct took over. Amelia reached out, her hand closing around a frail elbow to steady her. Up close, the details were even more alarming. Her skin had a fragile, almost translucent quality. This wasn't simple fatigue. This was a body waging a losing war. "My name is Maya Reed." She glanced down at the baby, her trembling fingers adjusting a corner of the blanket. "And this is Luna. I named her Luna because it means moon, and I wanted her to have a name that promised light in the darkness, because right now, that's all I have left to give her." Amelia gently guided her back to the bench and sat down next to her. The bus was due any minute, but she knew, with a certainty that settled deep in her bones, that this moment was more important than getting home. "Maya, why are you asking me to do this? Why me?" Maya drew a shuddering breath, her gaze fixed on the infant in her arms. Luna made a tiny, kitten-like sound, and Maya's expression crumbled. "Because I've been watching you for months," she confessed. "I know how that sounds, like I'm a stalker. But please just hear me out. I've been using the services at the center. That's how I first saw you. You were in the kids' corner reading Goodnight Moon to a little boy who was crying. You read it so softly, and you pointed out the little mouse on every page. Amelia remembered that afternoon, a little boy named Sam, whose mother was in a meeting. Your phone rang, Maya continued. It was Lily. She was worried you'd be late picking her up from her friend's house. I heard you tell her you loved her more than all the stars, that you'd be there soon, but that another little person needed a story first. And the way you spoke to her. Maya swiped at her eyes with the back of her hand. There was no irritation, no rush, just so much patience and love. Then you went right back to reading about the quiet old lady whispering hush. Amelia remained silent, allowing her to speak. I started asking around about you. The other volunteers, they told me your story. About losing your husband in a sudden accident. About how you were lost in grief, but you never let Lily see the worst of it. How you started volunteering because you wanted to teach her that even when your own world is broken, you can still help mend someone else's. Maya's voice fell to a near inaudible whisper. You were proof that good people still existed, and I desperately needed to know that, because my whole life has shown me the opposite. What happened to you, Maya? Amelia asked gently. Maya let out a laugh, but it was a hollow, brittle sound. You want the full tragedy? All right. Maybe then you'll see why I'm here, on a bus bench in the middle of the night, begging a stranger to raise my child. Luna began to stir, and Maya rocked her with a mechanical, practiced motion that belied the baby's short life. I grew up in the foster system, she began, her voice flat. In and out of homes, from the time I was 5 until I aged out. Some places were fine. Most were not. I learned fast that the only person I could ever rely on was myself. She paused, her gaze distant. I worked 2 jobs, put myself through a program at the community college. I became a medical assistant. It wasn't a fancy career, but it was mine. My certificate, my accomplishment, my future. Amelia nodded, encouraging her to go on. When I was 23, I met Julian at the clinic where I worked. He sold medical equipment. He was charming, handsome, wore expensive clothes. He pursued me relentlessly. He said he'd never met anyone with my kind of strength and determination. Her jaw tightened. I was a fool. I fell for it. You weren't a fool, Amelia said quietly. You were hopeful. Maya shot her a surprised look before turning away again. He moved me into his condo after 6 months. He told me I should quit my job, that he wanted to take care of me. I thought it was a sign of his love, that I'd finally found someone who wanted me for me. For 2 years, I really believed we had a future. Her hands clenched around the sleeping baby. Then I found the texts on his phone, the dating apps, the other women. He had been cheating on me the entire time. When I confronted him, he just laughed. He actually laughed. Amelia felt a surge of protective anger. He said I was convenient, Maya continued, her voice devoid of emotion. An orphan, with no family, to ask awkward questions. Perfect for playing the role of a girlfriend when he needed one. But a wife, a real life together? He said he needed someone from his own world, someone with a family, with connections, a better background. He's a monster, Amelia said, the word tasting like poison. He's a pragmatist. That's what he called himself as he was packing my things. I left with 1 suitcase and less than $300. My pride kept me from going straight to a shelter. I slept in 24-hour diners, laundromats, anywhere that was warm and lit. She shifted Luna in her arms, a flicker of pain crossing her face. A couple of months later, I got a part-time job cleaning an office building after hours. That's when I started to feel sick. I was exhausted all the time, but I blamed it on stress and not eating right. Then the headaches started. These blinding, agonizing headaches that made me throw up, My vision started to blur. Amelia's stomach sank. She knew what was coming. The community clinic sent me to the ER. They did a scan. Stage 2 glioblastoma. Aggressive. Treatable with immediate chemo and radiation, but incredibly risky to treat while pregnant. You were already pregnant, Amelia stated, the pieces clicking into place. 14 weeks. I had no idea. My cycle was always unpredictable, and with everything else, she trailed off. The doctors laid it out for me. Trying to treat the cancer while pregnant was dangerous. The hormonal shifts could make the tumor grow faster. The stress on my body could be fatal. They strongly advised me to terminate. Amelia looked down at Luna's tiny, serene face. But I couldn't, Maya whispered. For 25 years, I've had no one. No family, no blood relatives, no one who was truly mine. This baby, she choked on the words, this baby was the only family I would ever have. The only person in the world who would ever belong completely to me. How could I give that up? So you refused treatment? Amelia finished for her. Maya nodded. They thought I was crazy. Maybe I was. The headaches got worse. I lost weight everywhere but my stomach. My hair started falling out in clumps. That was the cancer, not chemo. I eventually just shaved the rest off. The community center became my home base when I couldn't scrape together enough for a cheap motel. That's where I saw you. And you started timing your visits for when I would be there, Amelia murmured. Yes, Maya admitted. Just to watch someone who was good, someone who was kind. To remind myself that decent people were still out there. I was 8 months pregnant, sicker than I'd ever been in my life, and you were the only thing giving me hope that maybe, just maybe, Luna would be born into a world that wasn't entirely cruel. Luna began to fuss, making soft, hungry noises. Maya fumbled with her coat, trying to position the baby to feed, but her hands were shaking too violently. Here, Amelia said softly, instinctively helping to adjust Luna. Her own hands remembered the motions from when Lily was an infant. Maya managed to latch the baby on, silent tears continuing to trace paths down her face. I made it to 37 weeks. The doctors called it a miracle. Luna was born small but healthy, 5 pounds 4 ounces, perfect in every way. Her voice cracked. But I'm not perfect. The cancer advanced during the pregnancy, just as they warned it would. Without treatment, they're giving me maybe 3 months. With treatment, if it works, maybe a few years. Then start treatment. Tomorrow. Tonight. Amelia urged. With what? Maya's laugh was a sharp, painful sound. I have no insurance, no job, no home. The hospital social workers are already talking about putting Luna into the foster system while I undergo treatment. They say it's the best option, but I know that system, Amelia. I lived it. I know what happens to babies whose mothers are sick and might not make it. She'll be adopted out from under me, or worse, left in limbo for years while I fight. Either way, I lose her. She looked directly at Amelia now, her dark eyes swimming with a desperate plea. So I watched you. I watched you be patient and kind and everything a parent should be. And I thought, maybe there's another way. Her voice dropped so low it was almost carried away by the wind. I'm not asking for forever. I'm not asking you to adopt her. I'm just asking you to take her while I get the treatment. Be her foster mother. Keep her safe. Let her know she's loved. And if I don't, she couldn't say the words. Amelia sat in stunned silence. The bus had come and gone, its red tail lights vanishing down the dark street. Around them, Philadelphia murmured its nocturnal rhythm of distant sirens and traffic. This was madness. She had Lily to consider, her job, her own fragile life that had only recently begun to feel stable again after 4 years of navigating grief. But then she looked at Maya, 25 years old, utterly alone, fighting for the chance to be a mother. She looked at Luna, so innocent and new, nursing peacefully in the eye of the storm. She thought about the weeks after Daniel's accident, when her neighbors had appeared with meals she hadn't asked for, when her co-workers had quietly absorbed her workload, when strangers from her parenting group had watched Lily so she could simply sit and breathe. She remembered all the hands that had held her up when she thought she would collapse. "My neighbor, Mrs. Gable, is going to think I've officially lost my mind," she said, her voice quiet but clear. Maya's head shot up, her eyes wide with a fragile, disbelieving hope. "But I was raised to believe that sometimes you're put in a specific place at a specific time because someone needs you to be there." Amelia pulled out her phone. "I'm calling a car service. You and Luna are coming home with me. Tomorrow, we'll figure out the treatment. We'll figure out the legal side of things. We'll make a plan. But for tonight, you are not alone anymore." "I can't ask you to do that," Maya started, shaking her head. "You're not asking. I'm offering," Amelia said, her gaze serious. "You need to start treatment immediately, right? And Luna needs care while you're getting better. I have a spare bedroom. Lily has been asking for a sister since she could form sentences." She paused, thinking of Daniel, who always insisted on stopping to help people, who always said that everyone was just one piece of bad luck away from needing a hand. "And I know what it's like to face the unthinkable by yourself. You shouldn't have to." Maya's face crumpled completely. "Why? Why would you do this for a stranger?" Amelia considered the question, then simply told the truth. "Because 4 years ago, strangers became my family when I needed one most. Maybe it's my turn to be that for someone else." The ride to Fishtown was mostly silent, punctuated by Luna's soft coos. Maya sat stiffly in the back, clutching her daughter as if she might vanish, her mind clearly struggling to process the reality of the situation. When they pulled up to Amelia's modest brick row house, a light was still on in the front window. Before they even made it up the steps, the door opened and Mrs. Gable appeared, her face etched with worry. "Amelia, it's nearly 1 a.m. I was about to—" She stopped short, her eyes falling on Maya and the baby. "They need some help," Amelia said simply. Mrs. Gable's sharp eyes took in Maya's appearance in an instant. The bald head, the profound exhaustion, the newborn. "Cancer," she stated, not as a question. Maya nodded, surprised by the woman's directness. "My sister fought it. She won too," Mrs. Gable said, stepping aside. "Get inside, both of you. You look like you're about to fall over, dear. Amelia, get them settled in the guest room. I'll put the kettle on." That was the moment Maya began to allow herself to believe this might be real. The guest room hadn't been used much since Daniel died. Amelia had kept it ready, but visitors had been few. She quickly stripped the bed and put on fresh sheets while Mrs. Gable bustled around Maya downstairs. The commotion woke Lily, who appeared at the top of the stairs in her unicorn pajamas. "Mommy, why is there a baby?" Her 8-year-old eyes were wide with curiosity, not alarm. "Lilybug, this is Maya and her daughter Luna. They're going to be staying with us for a little while. Maya is sick, and she needs our help." Lily came down the stairs slowly, her gaze fixed on the tiny bundle. "She's so little." "Can I hold her?" "Maybe tomorrow, Sweet Pea. Right now they both need to get some sleep." "Okay. Is she going to be my sister?" The innocent question made Maya's breath catch in her throat. "She's going to be our guest," Amelia said carefully. "We're going to help take care of her and her mommy while Maya gets better." Lily thought about this for a moment. "Like when Mrs. Henderson brought us that casserole when I had the flu." "Exactly like that." "Okay." Lily nodded, satisfied. She looked at Luna, then at Maya. I'm very good at being quiet when people are resting, and I can read stories if the baby is sad. I know a lot of stories." Maya's tears started again, but this time they felt different. This child, this kind, open-hearted little girl, was offering her comfort without a moment's hesitation. "Thank you, Lily," she managed to whisper. That night, Amelia lay awake in her own bed, staring at the ceiling and wondering at the magnitude of what she had just done. In the room next door, Maya was probably also awake, holding Luna, trying to comprehend how a stranger had just turned her own life upside down for her. Have you ever made a choice that was utterly terrifying, yet felt profoundly right? That's where Amelia was. That's where they both were. Two women broken in their own ways, brought together by a desperate plea and an act of radical kindness, about to embark on a journey neither could have possibly foreseen. The next morning, Amelia emailed her boss, explaining she needed to take emergency family leave. By 10 o'clock, they were on their way to the hospital of the University of Pennsylvania, with Luna tucked into a borrowed car seat for Mrs. Gable and Lily staying home from school with the neighbor's help. The oncology team was stunned that Maya had survived the pregnancy, but moved with swift efficiency once Amelia explained the situation. Treatment would have to begin at once. An aggressive chemotherapy regimen for 6 to 8 months, to be followed by radiation. Dr. Chen, the head oncologist, was direct. The pregnancy allowed the cancer to progress significantly. The next few months are going to be a battle. You will need a constant support system, someone to get you to appointments, help with daily needs, manage your medications. Do you have family who can help? Maya glanced at Amelia, who stood steadfastly by her side. I do now. The first infusion was scheduled for the following Monday. Amelia drove Maya to the cancer center at dawn, Luna strapped safely in the back. Lily was at school. The infusion suite was cold and clinical, a room of reclining chairs and IV stands, each one occupied by a person fighting a silent war. Maya was trembling with fear. This first one will take about 6 hours, a kind nurse named Sarah explained, her eyes full of compassion. You'll definitely need someone to drive you home. The side effects can come on quickly. I'll be here, Amelia said, settling into the visitor's chair next to Maya's, with Luna in her arms, and her laptop open. I'm working from here today. The chemicals dripped, a slow and steady poison designed to hunt and kill rapidly dividing cells, cancer cells, but also the cells lining her stomach, her hair follicles, her immune system. For the first couple of hours, Maya felt surprisingly okay. She managed to eat a few saltines and held Luna, trying to nurse her one last time before the inevitable nausea began. And then it began. Maya barely made it to the restroom. Amelia held Luna, rocking her gently, listening to the violent sickness from the next room. When Maya emerged, she was ashen, shaking, and humiliated. Amelia simply handed her a cool, damp cloth. I'm so sorry, Maya kept repeating. This is horrible. I'm so sorry you have to see this. Stop apologizing, Amelia said firmly. You are fighting for your life. You are fighting for Luna's future. There is nothing to be sorry for. The drive home was an exercise in misery. Every bump and turn in the road made Maya's stomach heave. She kept her eyes clamped shut, breathing shallowly, her hand pressed against the cool glass of the window. Back at the house, Mrs. Gable had left a container of plain broth. Maya managed 2 sips before she was sick again. That became the rhythm of their lives for the next 3 days. Violent nausea, an inability to keep anything down, and a bone-deep fatigue that made just lifting her head feel like a monumental effort. Amelia became an expert overnight. She learned which anti-nausea medications helped a little and which didn't, how to prepare bottles for Luna when Maya was too weak, how to swaddle and soothe a crying newborn while simultaneously caring for a desperately ill woman, and trying to maintain some semblance of normalcy for Lily. The second week offered a brief respite. Maya could sit up, eat small portions of toast, and hold Luna for more than a few minutes at a time. Lily would bring her drawings, bright, cheerful pictures of suns and flowers, with "Get well soon, Aunt Maya," written in careful crayon letters. The name had emerged naturally and stuck. The second round of chemo introduced a new kind of torment. Maya developed peripheral neuropathy, a painful tingling and numbness in her hands and feet that made holding Luna terrifying. Her fingers wouldn't grip properly. One afternoon, she dropped a bottle, sending formula splashing across the floor, and she shattered completely. "I can't even hold my own daughter," she sobbed, as Amelia cleaned up the mess. "What kind of mother can't hold her own baby?" "The kind who's being poisoned to stay alive," Amelia said gently, picking up Luna and carefully settling her into Maya's arms, supporting the baby's weight herself. "The kind who's a fighter. That's the kind of mother you are." If you've ever had to watch someone you care for suffer, you know the feeling of utter helplessness, the desperate wish to absorb their pain, to carry their burden, to just make it stop. Amelia felt that every single day, but she also witnessed Maya's incredible strength, the way she forced herself to eat when everything tasted like metal, the way she would smile at Luna through her tears, the way she would ask Lily about her day at school, even when her own day had been nothing but a blur of pain and sickness. The weeks bled into one another. Mondays were chemo days, with Amelia working from the infusion room, while Maya drifted in and out of a medicated doze. Tuesdays through Thursdays were the worst, with Maya barely conscious, and Amelia juggling Luna's feedings, Lily's homework, and a medication schedule that demanded constant attention. By Friday, Maya could usually manage to sit up and hold a conversation. They learned to cherish those good days. Then, in the third month, their fragile routine collapsed. Maya's white blood cell count crashed. The doctors called it neutropenia. Her immune system was gone. Any common cold could be fatal. She was admitted to the hospital immediately and placed in an isolation room. Amelia's life became an exhausting marathon of juggling hospital visiting hours, caring for both girls, and meeting work deadlines. Lily made a banner that said, "We miss you, Aunt Maya," and they taped it to the living room wall. Luna, now 3 months old, seemed to sense her mother's absence, fussing more than usual. During one particularly difficult night in the hospital, Maya looked at Amelia through a haze of pain and medication. "I can't do this to you anymore," she whispered, her voice weak. "This isn't right. You need to call the social worker. Let them place Luna in foster care. Let me do this alone." "Stop," Amelia interrupted, her voice gentle but unyielding. "We are a team, all 4 of us. Lily asked me yesterday if you were going to be okay. You know what I told her?" Maya weakly shook her head. "I told her that families don't give up on each other, and somewhere over these past few months, that's what we've become." She carefully took Maya's hand, avoiding the IV lines. "So no, you don't get to push us away. We are in this with you, all of us, together." Maya's tears soaked the hospital pillow, but for the first time, they were not entirely tears of sorrow. The 4th month brought a breakthrough. It was time for the first scan since the treatment began. Amelia drove Maya to the appointment, both of them holding their breath as Dr. Chen pulled the images up on the screen. "The tumor," he announced, a rare smile touching his lips, "has shrunk by 30%. Maya let out a sob of pure relief. Amelia held her while Luna babbled happily in her carrier, and Lily, who had insisted on coming along, let out a cheer so loud that a nurse poked her head in to see what was going on. "It's working," Dr. Chen confirmed. "The treatment is working." For the first time since that night on Girard Avenue, hope felt like a solid, tangible thing. But the war was far from won. During the 5th month, Maya developed agonizing mouth sores that made eating nearly impossible. She lost more weight. Amelia started blending protein smoothies, the only thing Maya could tolerate, adding bits of fruit to make them palatable. "You're going to turn me into a health nut," Maya joked weakly, wincing as she swallowed. "If it keeps you alive," Amelia replied, "I'll turn you into whatever we need you to be." Somewhere in the endless cycle of sick days and better days, something shifted between them. It was almost imperceptible at first. The way Amelia's hand would rest on Maya's shoulder for a moment longer than necessary when helping her up. The way Maya's eyes would follow Amelia around the room. The way their hands would brush as they both reached for Luna at the same time. Neither of them spoke of it. How could they? Maya was fighting for her very existence. Amelia was her caregiver. There was no space for complicated emotions, but emotions rarely wait for a convenient time to appear. Month 6 brought another scan, a 50% reduction. The tumor was in retreat. Maya was winning. The plan was for 2 more months of chemo, then 6 weeks of radiation. "You are responding remarkably well, Maya." Those final 2 months were a test of sheer endurance. Maya's body was ravaged by the chemical onslaught. Her veins were scarred from countless IVs. She developed a persistent, hacking cough, but she pushed through, her spirit buoyed by small, beautiful milestones. Luna's first real giggle, Lily's school play, the way Amelia would look at her when she thought she wasn't paying attention. The last chemotherapy session was on a Thursday in August, 8 long months after that desperate night at the bus stop. Maya rang the ceremonial bell in the infusion center, a tradition for patients finishing treatment. The entire room erupted in applause. Sarah, the nurse who had been with her since day 1, had tears in her eyes. Lily had made her a crown out of construction paper that read "Champion" in glitter. Luna, now 8 months old and crawling with surprising speed, clapped her chubby hands, delighted by the noise. Amelia just stood there and smiled, a look of profound pride, relief, and exhaustion on her face. Next came radiation. Daily treatments for 6 weeks. It was less brutal than chemo, but draining in its own way. Every single day, Monday through Friday, they made the drive to the hospital. Amelia rearranged her entire work life, dropping Maya off in the morning, taking Lily to school with Luna in the back seat, and then picking Maya up before getting Lily from school. The routine became a kind of meditation. They listened to music in the car. Maya's hair was starting to grow back, soft and dark and surprisingly curly. She called them her chemo curls. By September, it was an inch long. By October, Lily could fasten a tiny barrette in it. Luna's first birthday was on a chilly day in November, exactly 1 year after the night they met. They had a small party with just the 4 of them and Mrs. Gable. There was a simple cake with pink icing that Luna joyfully smeared all over her face and high chair. Lily helped her baby sister open her presents. Sitting on the couch beside Amelia, watching her 2 girls play, Maya felt a sense of peace she hadn't known in years. It felt like contentment. It felt like home. "Thank you," she whispered, a phrase she had said 1,000 times. "Stop thanking me," Amelia replied, as she always did. "I'm serious, Amelia. None of this, Luna, me being alive, none of it would be happening if it weren't for you." Amelia turned to look at her. Maya's dark curls framed a face that had regained its color. She had put on some weight. She was no longer the spectral, dying woman from the bus stop. She was beautiful. "We did it together," Amelia said softly. "All of us." The final scan was scheduled for early December, a year and 1 week after their lives had collided. Amelia held Maya's hand in Dr. Chen's office, while Luna stacked blocks on the floor and Lily bounced her leg nervously. Dr. Chen brought the images up on his monitor. his face unreadable. Then he turned to them. "No evidence of disease," he announced. "You've had a complete response, Maya. The cancer is gone." The small office exploded. Lily shrieked with happiness. Luna, startled, began to cry, then started laughing when she saw everyone else's joy. Maya collapsed against Amelia, sobbing with a force that shook her entire body. "You did it," Amelia whispered into her hair. "You survived." "We survived," Maya corrected her through her tears. "All of us. We survived." In the parking garage afterward, a light snow began to fall. Luna, held in Maya's arms, reached out her chubby hands to catch the flakes. Lily spun in circles, singing a made-up song about Aunt Maya being all better. That evening, after both girls were tucked into bed, Maya found Amelia in the kitchen making tea. She had been rehearsing this conversation all day, the one where she would talk about finding her own apartment, about not being a burden any longer. "Amelia, I need to talk to you about something," she began, her heart hammering against her ribs. "Actually, I need to talk to you too," Amelia said, setting her mug down. "I've been trying to find the right words for weeks." "Let me go first," Maya insisted. I should start looking for a place of my own." "You've done more for me than anyone ever has, but you have your life back now and—" "I don't want you to move out," Amelia said, cutting her off. Maya stopped, speechless. "What?" Amelia's hands were trembling slightly. "I don't want you to move out," she repeated. "In fact, I was hoping you would stay. Not as a patient or a guest, but as more." The kitchen suddenly felt very small, the air thick with everything that had been left unsaid between them for so long. "More?" Maya echoed carefully. "This past year," Amelia began, taking a deep breath, "watching you fight, seeing you with the girls, having dinner together every night, just being together. Somewhere in all of that, I fell in love with you." Maya felt her heart stop, then restart at a frantic pace. "You can't," she whispered. "Amelia, you saved my life. You just feel obligated." "Obligated?" Amelia actually laughed. "Maya, you brought this house back to life. You showed Lily that strength isn't about never falling down. It's about how you get back up. You showed me that my heart didn't die with Daniel. It was just waiting for someone who needed me as much as I needed them, as much as I need you." Tears were streaming down Maya's face now. "I don't know how to be in a family. I don't know how to be loved like that." "Then let me teach you," Amelia said softly, stepping closer until only inches separated them. "Let me show you what it looks like when someone chooses you, not because it's convenient, and not out of obligation, but because you are extraordinary. Because watching you survive made me want to truly live again. Because Lily and Luna are already sisters. And maybe it's time we stopped pretending any of this is temporary." "You really mean it?" Maya asked, her voice thick with emotion. "I really mean it." And then Maya kissed her. It was a soft, tentative kiss that tasted of tears and chamomile tea and the promise of a new beginning. 2 years later, on a warm September afternoon, Amelia and Maya stood in their own backyard and exchanged vows. Lily, now 10, served as the maid of honor, a role she took with the utmost seriousness. 3-year-old Luna was the flower girl, toddling down the grassy aisle and scattering petals with an enthusiastic randomness that made all their friends and family laugh. Maya's dark curls had grown long, falling past her shoulders. She wore a simple cream-colored dress, and Amelia wore a blue suit she'd bought just for this day. Mrs. Gable sat in the front row and cried through the entire ceremony. The cancer was still in remission. Maya had enrolled in nursing school, determined to give other patients the same compassionate care that had helped save her. Amelia's design business was thriving. Lily was at the top of her class, and Luna was a happy, healthy chatterbox, completely unaware of the desperate circumstances that had marked the beginning of her life. Later, as the sun set, Amelia watched Maya dancing with both of their daughters, their laughter mingling with the music. She thought back to that cold, lonely bus stop. How a dying stranger's impossible request had become the foundation of everything she now held dear. Love doesn't always show up in a neat package. Sometimes it arrives terrified and bald, holding a newborn and asking for a miracle. Sometimes it grows in the quiet moments between chemo infusions and midnight feedings. And sometimes it blooms in the aftermath of survival, when two broken people discover they have made each other whole. The bus stop on Girard Avenue is still there, weathered and unremarkable. But for them, it was the place where hope began. Hope began when one mother trusted another with her entire world. Hope grew with every grueling treatment, every sleepless night, and every small victory. Hope flourished when they chose family over solitude and love over fear. Their story became a quiet legend at the Cancer Center and the Community Center, proof that miracles happen, that good people exist, and that sometimes the very thing that feels like the end is actually the beginning. Maya kept a journal for Luna, filling it with the story of her first year of life. Someday when she was old enough, Luna would read about the bus stop, about Amelia's impossible kindness, and about a fight for life that love ultimately won. She would learn that family isn't always about blood. Sometimes it's about choice. It's about showing up. It's about saying yes when every rational part of you wants to say no. It's about loving someone so fiercely that you make the impossible possible. That is what Amelia taught them all, and that is what they became. A family born not from perfection, but from desperation transformed into devotion, from strangers transformed into everything,